But how can you fix it? Do not panic, because I'll tell you how to get rid of it without going to the doctor. But before that, if you think this lizard is cute, if you see these white spots on your bananas, then throw them away immediately. But what are they? And why are they so dangerous? But before I tell you, if your watermelon starts creaming, then do not cut it. But why does it happen? And what will happen if you cut it? But before I tell you, if you find this lizard cute, then like and subscribe. So when a watermelon is left in a hot place for too long, it can start to ferment. And the foam it produces smells absolutely terrible. But due to bacterias and formation of gases inside it, if you cut it, then it might explode in your... If you see birds doing this in the sky, then hide somewhere immediately. But what is it? And why are they doing it? But before I tell you, if you see turkeys circling around a grave, then get out of there immediately. But why? But before I tell you, if you think this kitten does... If you see this fluffy water approaching you, then get out of there immediately. But what is it? But before I tell you, if you want to be as happy as this lizard, then like and subscribe. So this water is called sea foam, and although it looks fun, but swimming in it can be the worst mistake of your life. That is because this foam is made out of dissolved organic matter, and sometimes algae blooms in it, which may contain harmful industrial waste and toxins. So avoid swimming in it, as it may have many dangerous health consequences. If you see this fluffy water approaching you, then get out of there immediately. But what is it? But before I tell you, if you want to be as happy as this lizard, then like and subscribe. So this water is called sea foam, and although it looks fun, but swimming in it can be the... Never pour salt on the beach, because these dangerous creatures might come out. But what will they do to you? But before if you see this, never pour... Subscribe. If you see this adorable little snake crawling towards you, asking you to be its friend, then do not fall for it. Because this is one of the most dangerous snakes in the world. It is known as the Gaboon viper, and this snake can literally kill you with its cuteness. It has the biggest fangs of any snake in the world, and its venom is so potent that it can paralyze you for the rest of your life, or unalive you within... At first, this may look like it's just a dead praying mantis, but when you touch it, this alien-like creature comes out of it. But what is it? But before I tell you, if you see this creepy animal, then do not touch it, as it will be the worst mistake of your life. But why? But before I tell you, if you want to be as happy as this lizard, then like and subscribe. So these small and scary dragons are known as frilled dragons, and they are mainly found in Australia. But although they look scary, they are not harmful to humans at all, and only eat small insects. But if you see hundreds of tiny fish come... Why is this cow wearing a $3,000 VR headset? Like, what is the purpose of this? But before I tell you, if you ever see a beehive doing this, then run away immediately. But what is about to happen? But before I tell you, if you find this puppy... If you see this, do not let it touch you, as it will be the worst mistake of your life. But why? But before that, if you find this... If you ever see a hippopotamus pooping, then run away as fast as you can. But what will happen if you don't? But before I tell you, if you see anyone eating this popular chicken dish, then stop them immediately. But what will happen if you eat it? But before that, if you see a spider crawling under someone's skin, then do not panic. But how did this happen? But before I tell you that, if you see this in your trash can, then do not touch it. But what will happen if you do? But before that, if you see this weird creature on the ground, then do not touch it. But what will happen if you do? But before that, if you find this baby... If your tongue ever gets stuck to ice, do not pull it, as it will be the worst mistake of your life. But how do you get it off? But before that, if you ever see this, then do not touch it. But what will happen if you do? But before that, if your fingers ever get stuck with super glue, do not pull them. But why? But before that, why is this person putting a needle in his eye? Isn't this painful? But before I tell you, if you think this cat is... If you see square waves, then run and get out of the water immediately. But what will happen if you don't? But before that, if you see these tiny black balls in the water, then do not try to eat them. But what will happen if you do? But before that, if you put your hand in this liquid, it will freeze your hand instantly. But what is it exactly? But before I tell you its name, if someone gives you this white apple, then do not eat it. But what will happen if you do? But before that, if you see this white powder on your fruit, then do not eat it. But why? But before that, if you see this bird approaching you, then run immediately. But what will it do to you? But before that, if you see bubble gum stuck to this wall, then do not lick it. But what will happen if you do? But before that,
if you see people throwing newborn babies into a swimming pool, then do not stop them. But isn't this dangerous? But before I tell you, if you find this baby...
Why does this girl have 2 tongues? Is it painful? I'll tell you, but before that, if you find this dog cute, then like and subscribe. This is why you should always check your door handles before you enter the car. So videos have been going viral. Why are these ticks so big? And what will they do to your body if you don't remove them? But before I tell you that, if this happens to your tongue, then rush to the hospital immediately. But what will happen if you don't? But before that, if you see this creature coming out of your stuffed toy, then do not kill it. But what will happen if you do? But before that, if you want to get a massage, if you ever see a cute platypus, then do not touch it as it could end your life. But have you ever wondered how this infinite... Did you know that if you stick your hand in a fire ant hill, an ant will crawl onto your skin and grab your skin with its pinchers? But do not draw a line in front of a chicken, because if you do, then they will get paralyzed for life. But why does this happen? And what will happen if you remove the line? But before I tell you, if you find this lizard cute, then like and subscribe. So you might have seen videos of people paralyzing chickens by drawing a line in front of them. Well, this phenomenon is known as tonic immobility. Now, although scientists can't explain why this happens, but some people believe that it's a defense mechanism for chickens. If you buy your groceries from a supermarket, then stop immediately, because something extremely bad is happening in the USA and it is really dangerous. So videos have been going. If you see a camel, if you step out of your house and see this, if you see ants performing, then like and subscribe. So you might have seen ants going around in circles. Well, this is known as an ant mill. And it is actually a really sad phenomenon. You see, most of the ant species are blind. And rely on pheromones of other ants to navigate through spaces. Now, sometimes this is one of the most dangerous worms you can find. If you find this lizard cute, then like and subscribe. So this worm is known as the hammerhead worm, and it is considered to be an invasive species, which is extremely detrimental to agricultural crops. But how do you kill them then? Well, you see, the easiest method to get rid of them is to put some salt on them. This will If you ever see a bee releasing this special creature, if you walk out of your house and see these type of clouds in the sky, then hide somewhere immediately. But why? But before I tell you if you find this cat cute, then like when this man tapped on this yellow jacket nest, the wasps kept coming out but did not attack him. But how is that possible? But before I tell you if you find this baby, if you see this giant white spider walking on your hand, then do not kill it, because killing it will be the worst mistake of your life. But why? But before I tell you if you find this lizard cute, then like and subscribe. So this spider is known as the camel spider, and although they look intimidating, they are not harmful to humans at all. They have no venom in them and are just a pooky arachnid. But if you irritate them, they will chase you away at 10 miles per hour. If you see this giant white spider walking on your hand, then do not kill it, because killing it will be the worst mistake of your life. But why? But before I tell you if you